Hello, Dwight. You're on the air.
Thank you, sir, for taking my call.
Pleasure.
I said to your producer, he asked me where I was calling from. I said, I'm calling from St. John's, but I want to make it clear that my heart is in Labrador.
No problem.
And I just want to carry on the conversation you were having there a couple calls back with a lady who called in about, Aboriginal recognition. And I want to make a few points, and cell phone runs late.
Oh, you go right ahead, Dwight. Whatever's in your mind.
But what bugs me about your analysis of it is that money is a blunt and dirty way to downplay what people really want. And I think there's two things that the Aboriginal people of Labrador want. They want to be recognized in their own land, no doubt about it, but they also want to benefit from local resource development. To downplay that to money is a cheap way to convince people that is not a valid point.
Why?
And why?
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the almighty dollar. It's about the benefits of your standard of living that come along with that. It's about good infrastructure. Let me just give you an example now. When the border dispute was on between Newfoundland and Quebec, the government of the day came to the Aboriginals of Labrador looking for signed affidavits to prove that this province used more than just the 1 kilometre coastline that Newfoundlanders use to dry fish on. And it won the battle. So why all of a sudden is that traditional land use discredited? When there's a resource inland that's wanted. Everybody has an agenda all the time.
Yeah.
And to try to downplay the motive of Aboriginal groups by just saying this money is insulting. We simply want a piece of the pie that's coming out of our land. That's not wrong.
Well, what makes it your land any more than mine, though, Dwight? See, that's where we're getting down to the hairspray. What makes it yours any more than mine?
What made it our land any more than it was Quebec's?
That's a provincial boundary dispute. That's got nothing to do with First Nations and negotiations on land claim settlement. Absolutely nothing. Nothing.
Has
nothing.
The world to do with it.
Has nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing to do with it.
Explain to me how it doesn't.
A provincial boundary dispute has something to do with the same thing as recognition of First Nations. Are you kidding me? Seriously, that's the analogy you're going to draw to put me in my place?
They came to Aboriginals to determine that land belonged to this province.
Dwight, what makes the land... Listen, Dwight, seriously, though, I mean, I don't mind being under siege for this because I know what I'm doing. I know when I bring up these issues that I'm going to have people that are mad about it, and that's fine. But what makes that land yours any more than mine? I think that's a legitimate question.
What makes it any more mine than yours?
What makes some of these land claims any more First Nations right than mine?
What makes it yours more than ours?
I never said it meant. I never. Okay. White guys don't play that game.
I'll make my point. We live there. We want to live there. We have lived off of that land for generations. We want to continue living off that land for generations. The outside world is building infrastructure all around us. Resources are leaving that land, and we're not getting a piece of it. That is why.
You're not getting a piece of it? What piece do I get of it? See, what piece do I get?
I don't care about that.
Well, there you go.
That's not my fight.
End of story. You don't care what I get, but a land claim with a check.
St. John's. I'm here in St. John's now. Oh, I don't want you to sign a land claim with me. I'm here in St. John's now for medical services. My wife is pregnant with twins, going back to Labrador as soon as it's all over with. I'm going back to unfit drinking water. I'm going back to roads that are going to tear the shit out of my vehicle prematurely. I'm going back to a place where common goods cost a fortune. And yet all these resources are being developed without any recognition now that people deserve the infrastructure that goes along with it.
And you don't get it?
No, we don't get it.
So if we guarantee X number of jobs
to the city of St. John's, we are a third world country.
The city of St. John's? Half the population lives within 60 miles of the Confederation building, boy. I mean, sure.
Okay. I was waiting for that argument.
But that's the reality.
No, let me make a point. People from outside Labrador often make that argument that our population is not. Don't grant tax dollars being spent there. You know.
Well, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
That's the point you're making.
No, I can make my own points quite clearly, sir. You go ahead and make yours. I'll make mine.
Okay, let me finish making mine. The argument is that my argument is that nobody in Canada, unless they're stacked a mile high deep on a city block, pays for their standard of living through tax dollars. That is a myth. That's a load of crap.
I agree with that.
Canada's wealth is resource-based.
I agree with that.
We have resources in our backyard in Labrador, and we simply want to experience the benefits that every city, every other person is benefiting from. That's it.
And you don't. You're telling me the Labrador gets no benefit?
None, very little. What's the benefit from for example, Muskrat Falls for Labrador.
What's the benefit for me?
I don't care.
Well, see, there you go, Dwight. If you don't care about me, yet you want everyone else to care about you and your place. Sure, how does that work, man?
Here's where I want to go on to my last point.
How does that work? So should I be sharing the offshore oil wealth with Labrador?
The government has for generations now divided and conquered not only Aboriginals, Labrador people as a whole. They throw a bone to one group to satisfy a need, and that splits the small population that we do have. It happens through all levels of government. Have you seen the latest offers to the NLTA? They're even trying to divide and conquer their own workers. So my point is that enough is enough. I'll say that Labradorians, not Aboriginals, not the Métis, not the Innu, not the Nunatjiavut, Labradorians as a whole, even the people that are there from outside that want to make a life there. That's a lot of my own family. Mm-hmm. I say that we should say no more. We're not going to be subjected to that model anymore by government elected by a population, which is represented somewhat by your opinion, on an island that does not have meaningful interest in Labrador.
Sir, what are you talking about? We don't live in the same province? What is going on here? Like, I believe the starting point of your thought means that you think that those of us living on the island of Newfoundland are completely opposed to the happiness and the well-being of those in Labrador, and that's completely foolishness.
Historically, that's not foolishness.
Historically. So whatever went on 100 years ago, where in 1949 has some governing about how I think and operate here as a 43-year-old man living in the east end of town?
I'm only a 31-year-old man, but it has a lot to do with how I operate.
Yeah, but that's your own problem. That's your mistake. You don't want me to have any equity. You don't want me to be equal to you. You want what you want, and the hell with me. That's not how I operate or think.
I don't think you want me to be equal to you.
I just told you that's not true. I just told you that's not true.
Okay. That may not be your personal opinion.
It's not my personal opinion.
That is, and I don't think that's the personal opinion of the average person in Newfoundland.
Well, but you just said you couldn't care less about me. You just want what you want. Absolutely. And that's fine. You can behave however you like. That's what you said, not me.
The government has inflicted this sentiment in Labrador. Period. Because they have no meaningful interest in Labrador. The population that elects the most of our government comes from this island. Why would they have a meaningful interest in Labrador other than to take from it?
Dwight,
answer me that.
Well, listen, I don't think it's all take. For starters, I don't. How do you think, given the geography of the big land, of the beautiful Labrador, how we should navigate 27,000 people living up there, that geography, to cover it and to give people what they consider to be fair and just? How do you do it? That's the real problem. It's about dollars and cents.
We observe the model of Nunavut, and we take that land for the 27,000 people that want to be a part of it.
Oh, you take Labrador. You take Labrador from the island.
Absolutely.
Split the province.
You just said it. You just said it with your own words. We take Labrador from the island.
Oh my God! Really?
We are not looked at as equal part. You just said, "Well, you mean take Labrador from the island?" You made my point.
Wow. And that's the legitimate answer here. That's where you think the future lies for the benefit of Labradorians, is to remove yourself from the province of Newfoundland and Labrador and live on your own accord. And nothing to do with the island. Really, that's the way forward.
Work great for Nunavut.
Very good. What can we say to that? You know? I mean, what can we say to that? I think you painted a very clear picture of what's actually going on here. It's not Newfoundlanders, it's not Islanders condemning and wanting to screw Labradorians. Based on what you just said, is Labradorians not giving a shit about those living on the island, only want what they want and want to get what they want when they want it. Now, that doesn't seem to me to be a very legitimate, fundamental way forward.
It is Labradorians wanting to benefit from the resources in their backyard, wanting to be equal players, which we are not. I've driven all over this island. I've got family all over this island. And I agree that the rural parts of Newfoundland are neglected by its own government. Doubt.
Well,
but when we have resources in our backyard, why should we stand for being second-class citizens?
See, you're assuming immediately that everyone thinks those vile thoughts. Look, I live in town, right? So when we are trying to share the same pot of money, and I know that there's people living in coastal communities, whether they be in Labrador or on the island itself, looking for the same types of amenities that I may enjoy because of where I live, let's say MRI or dialysis units or whatnot. Do you think that anyone in town is that cracked that they immediately say, What? You don't live in St. John's? Go to hell, my friend. I don't care if you're healthy, sick, live, or die. Do you think people think like that?
Absolutely not. I got family here in St. John's. I'm sure that 99% of the population of St. John's does not think like that.
The problem is the geography and 500,000 people.
This government has oppressed Labradorians to the point that that is what a lot of Labradorians would think, because of oppression, because of generations of oppression.
Well, Dwight, I can tell you what, based on what I think and feel, my friend, then you got nothing to worry about with me. But I think based on what we hear from many Labradorians, I think there is an opportunity here for us to really take a look at the other side. And if what you think is true about what Islanders think about Labrador, I would suggest you're wrong. Though I know very clearly what Labradorians think about those on the island.
You're confusing the line of Islanders and island government.
Okay, I'm glad you called today. These are important conversations, and you and I, of course, both big boys, are not going to take any of this to heart. And feeling what you feel, that's the beauty of the show, and that's why you're welcome to call at your convenience.
All right, thank you very much.
All the very best.
I do.
Bye-bye. Listen, the divide, it's not just the Townies and the Baymen, and it's not just the Islanders and the Labradorians, although that is becoming a further intensified racket. What exactly is those benefits that are not being enjoyed in Labrador? If you're telling me it's a paved highway and that kind of stuff, then I am happy to have that conversation based on what you are considering to be a true benefit of natural resource wealth.